Hello everyone and welcome back to the 3T Path channel. My name is Giridhari and welcome back to our Uddhava-gita course. So in the last class, we had a very interesting class because we're going through the chapter where Krishna is telling Uddhava about the varnashrama system. So he's describing the 4 varnas, and today we'll be starting on the 4 ashramas. And in the last class, we could see that the descriptions of the varnas deny the caste system which is done by birth. So we could clearly see that nowhere does Krishna say that it has anything to do with your family name or who your parents are, but what your own individual qualities are. And so he described the qualities of each brahmana, kshatriya, and vaishya. And today we're going to be seeing the qualities of the shudras, and then we're going to be moving on to the non-civilized people, what everyone should do in society, and then we'll be starting with the ashramas, and we'll see, if we get there, about the dvija. So we're going to be learning about what is a dvija and how everybody could become a dvija, and not this idea that it's limited, that only shudras can't be dvija. Nowhere does Krishna say that too. So we'll be seeing those verses in this class. So here we go. We are in the 11th canto, 17th chapter, verse 19. And of course, if you want to see all the previous classes in this course, make sure you check out Uddhava-gita.com and you become a member of this channel. When you're a member of this channel, you have access to the full course. We are almost at 100 classes, so there's a lot of content already available. So verse 19. So this is the quality of a shudra. Service without duplicity to the brahmanas, cows, demigods, and other worshipful personalities, and complete satisfaction with whatever income is obtained in such service are the natural qualities of the shudras. So you'll see, if you compare with the other ones, that the shudras has a lot less qualities necessary. They're not very difficult qualities. That's why, it's a pyramid system. The topmost, the brahmanas, had the most difficult qualities to achieve, and then the kshatriyas, and then the vaishyas, and then the shudras have the least qualities. And that's the idea. It's like if you don't make it with those other qualities, then this is all you need just to be able to do service without duplicity. That's all that's asked for. Just be able to do some service without duplicity, and you're not, like the vaishyas, wanting unlimited money, and you're not like the kshatriyas wanting power and dominance over other people. If you want those things, then you have to have those other qualities. That's the idea. It's not that, so that's unfair, the shudras don't get paid, they don't get money. Well, if you want money, you be a vaishya. You make as much, like Krishna said, they want unlimited, unstoppable desire for more and more money, never satisfied. So be a vaishya. That's what people don't get about the varna system. It's not blocking anyone, but it's saying, look, you have to have these qualities too. You can't just be greedy. You can't just want money. Remember, the vaishyas, they had other qualities as well. So you have to have the other qualities. Let's look at the other qualities just so we can compare. So if you want money, for example, you should be a vaishya. And a vaishya has what? He has dedication. He's dedicated his faith in the Vedic civilization. He's dedicated to charity. He's free from hypocrisy, and he's serving the brahmanas. So, if you can have those extra qualities, then you should be a vaishya. You could try your hand at being a vaishya, make money. If you don't, then as a shudra, all you need is to be able to do service without duplicity. That's all. And of course, obviously you're not going to be the richest person, you're not going to be the most powerful person, but you're content with, a more simple life. But then you have it more easy. So it's like easier, and you have less, but it's easier as well. And it's good, it's valid. It's no problem. It's not a system where you have to be, I have to be. No, it's like whatever you are, that's how society can, you can fit into society. That's the idea. But you want to be powerful, you want to control and rule other people, then you have to be a kshatriya. And the kshatriya has to have dynamic power, bodily strength, determination, heroism, tolerance, generosity, great endeavor, steadiness, and devotion to brahmanas. That's a lot of qualities to have. So it's not easy having all those qualities. And then, of course, the brahmana has to have the most difficult qualities: peacefulness, self-control, tapas, austerity, being able to reduce your needs and focus on your purpose, cleanliness, satisfaction, tolerance, simple straightforwardness, devotion to God, mercy, and truthfulness. Notice that the brahmana has the most qualities, and they're very high level qualities. They require you to be a very high level consciousness person of true brahmana. Not the brahmanas by birth. Brahmanas by birth, no quality necessary, you just take birth. No, that's not the system. That's the caste system. That's not Krishna's system. So brahmanas, most qualities. Kshatriyas, really difficult qualities as well. I mean, I don't have these qualities. I couldn't be a proper kshatriya. I couldn't rush into battle. Not that kind of, I don't have that kind of heroism. I couldn't do that, couldn't do that. A great endeavor. I couldn't be like, just day and night, I'm going to do this. It's not me. I don't have that quality. So I couldn't be a kshatriya. And then some of the vaishyas are less qualities than the kshatriyas, and the shudra, the least qualities of all. That's how it works. That's the system. Okay, now, what happens if you don't have even those simple qualities of a shudra? Then it says, text 20, dirtiness, dishonesty, thievery, faithlessness, useless quarrel, lust, anger, and hankering constitute the nature of those in the lowest position outside the varnashrama system. So this is the true outcast. Again, not the horrible thing we have, outcasting some poor person born, in the shanty town. No, that's not what an outcast is. An outcast is a person with these bad qualities. So if you were to take these qualities, then you'd have a lot of outcasts these days. But then if people knew that this was the system, they would work on overcoming these qualities. Like if you want to be part of a society, you can't have these qualities. That's the system. That's the beauty of the system. Look, there's a civilization we're working on here. Right? We have a civilization. We're getting along. We're trying to do something. We're getting organized. That's what a civilization is. And if you have these qualities, you can't be part of it. Because it doesn't work. We don't want somebody like this. Do you want something like this? Do you want a person like this in your group? In your community? I don't. Nobody does. So it's outright and it's stated. Look, dirtiness, dishonesty. Dishonesty is unacceptable. Now we have, president. Now our leaders are dishonest. That's the situation in Kali Yuga. People are outright lying. They've been caught lying time and time again, like documented, clear lie, like completely, like, look, there's no way you can twist this around. You lied. And these people get elected. Now they're in power. That's why the world is in such a horrible situation, because the Kshatriya had to be very truthful. His word was his bond. It was just like, he said, a Kshatriya, if you see all the stories, Kshatriya, as soon as he said something, that's what it is. He will die to defend and uphold his word. Like nothing else matters. They were so into no, my word, I said it, it's done. There was no but maybe I'll change my mind. No, they were so truthful. And they're very proud of being truthful because they're Kshatriyas, so they're very proud and determined. And they will go to the ends of the earth to maintain their word. Just like our politicians today. So, dirtiness, dishonesty, not acceptable. Thievery, of course, you're dishonest, you're thievery. Our politicians are expert thieves as well, right? And the Vaishya, they're thieves, they're stealing, they're lying, they're cheating the public. They lie, they sell false things, that's not acceptable. That's not Vaishya. You can't, oh, but I want to make money. But you can't be dishonest. You can't lie. You can't cheat. That's not acceptable. So, thievery, faithlessness, useless quarrel. Boy, do we have a lot of useless quarrel these days, right? But anyway, lust, anger, and hankering. So you just greed, you just want things without, like this is not your purpose. So you're just falling into kama. So lust is kama, krodha, and you fall into kama and krodha. These are the gateways to hell, Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita. Kama, krodha, lobha. Krishna says these are the gateways to hell. So obviously we don't want people who are, focused on going to hell in our community, in our society, in our civilization. So these people they fall outside the system. Like, we don't want these people, just, go away, just don't be with us. We don't want this. So these constitute the nature of those in the lowest position outside of the varnashram system. So a person with these qualities, Krishna is saying, cannot be a shudra, cannot be a vaishya, cannot be a kshatriya, cannot be a brahmana. If you have these bad qualities, you're not qualified to assume any role in society. Look at that. That would be awesome. Purport. Here the Lord describes those who reside outside the scientific social system called varnashrama. In Europe and America, we have practically observed that the standards of cleanliness are abominable, even among so-called educated persons. Going without bathing and the use of indecent language are common. In the modern age, people whimsically speak whatever they like, dispensing with all authority, and there is therefore very little truthfulness or true wisdom. Similarly, in both the capitalistic and communistic countries, everyone is busily engaged in stealing and robbing from everyone else in the name of business, taxation, or outright crime. People are not confident of the kingdom of God nor of their own eternal nature, and thus their faith is very weak. Moreover, since modern human beings are not very interested in Krishna consciousness, they constantly quarrel, bicker, and fight over completely insignificant issues relating to the material body. Thus, at the slightest provocation, there are huge wars and massacres. Lust, anger, and hankering have become practically unlimited in Kali Yuga. The symptoms and characteristics mentioned here can be abundantly observed throughout the world, wherever people have fallen away from the varnashrama system. Because of sinful habits such as animal killing, illicit sex, which means sex without the bond of a sacred union, intoxication, and gambling, the great majority of human beings have become chandalas, or untouchables. So these are the true untouchables, not a poor person who just didn't have enough of a, opportunity, who was born in a family in absolute poverty. That is not a chandala. No, that could be a brahmana, that could be a kshatriya, that could be a vaishya, that could be a shudra. Depends on that person's qualities. Very important. Now, what's the qualities for everyone? So those qualities, you're out. And what does everyone have to cultivate? Verse 21. So these are the qualities for everyone within society. This is like a pact. Look, if we're going to be part of this civilization, everyone has to keep to these. And they are ahimsa, non-violence, satyam, truthfulness, asteyam, honesty, and akama krodha lobhata, freedom from kama, krodha, and lobha, right? Krishna said kama, krodha, and lobha, gateways to hell. So obviously we don't want people here who have kama, krodha, and lobha. So, and desire for happiness for all other beings. So you have bhuta priya, you want everyone to be happy. You're a well-wisher. right? That's nice way to have that's a nice quality for a community, right? You want to make sure everybody in the community wants everybody else to be happy. That's an important quality. So Bhuta Priya. And so these constitute the duties for all members of society. So everyone has to be in this same page. Ahimsa, satyam, asteyam. So first, non-violence, truthfulness, honesty. That's a must. How can you have a bond? How can you deal with someone? I mean, we've all dealt with people who are cheating, who are lying. It's impossible, right? How you suppose it's horrible. And then you have to come up with these huge contracts because look, you want to make sure you're not cheating, and still it doesn't work. So it's really it's a horrible situation. And of course, ahimsa, non-violent. You don't want people who are violent, who are hurting people, who are hurting nature, hurting the planet. You don't want that. So these are wonderful qualities for us to cultivate, of course, in our own lives. At least we can be members of this crazy civilization with these qualities. The more of us that we can have these qualities, the more we can maybe hope that, other people will join us with these qualities. So very important to have these qualities. Okay, so wonderful. So these are the qualities for all of society. It doesn't matter if you're Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, or Brahmana. This is for everyone. The words sarva varnika indicate that the above-mentioned principles constitute general piety, which should be observed by all members of society. We practically find that even in societies that have fallen away from the varnashrama system, the above-mentioned principles are honored and encouraged. Such principles do not constitute a specific path of liberation, but are perennial virtues in human society. So of course, Dharma is for everyone. Like I always say, Dharma is non-negotiable. Your path of spirituality, you're going to do yoga or not, that's an option. You can choose to become spiritual, you can choose to become liberated, you can choose to yoga, to reconnect yourself with God and not take birth anymore. That's obviously the way to go, but that's your choice. So really, your spiritual choices, those are your private choices. But Dharma is non-negotiable. Nobody wants to deal with non-Dharma. It's terrible for your own private life. It's terrible for anyone around you. Non-Dharma is not acceptable for any level, for your own self, for your family, for your community, for society, for the world. It's just a disaster. So these are dharmic qualities. These are just some of the universal dharmic qualities, starting with the first two, which are actually two of the famous 4 pillars of Dharma, Satyam and Ahimsa. And those of you who like Gandhi will know that he was very much into these two. He would go over and over, Satyam, Ahimsa, Satyam. He was just like, because he got it. He understood that these, like, what can you do without Satyam and Ahimsa? I mean, everything else is a disaster without truthfulness and non-violence. Okay, now we're going to get to the topic of dvija. We had time, so now we can talk about dvija. So what does dvija mean? The word dvija just means twice born. What's the idea? Well, you're born once. Everybody comes out of a womb, so that's being born once. But then you have to be trained. You have to get education. You need to be trained in these wonderful principles we study here, the ones we've been looking at, and others, of course. So that training, that education makes you then that's called a second birth, because now you're born into a higher level of existence, a more civilized, higher level of consciousness. So that's the idea of dvija. And we're going to see here, let's look at Krishna's words, but we're going to see that this has nothing to do, again, with your qualities. It doesn't matter if you're Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, or Brahmana. It doesn't matter, certainly, what your family is, your family name, or who your parents are. It's got nothing to do with any of that. So let's check out this. So verse 22. So this one I'm going to be doing kind of like a more direct translation, because the translation here put by Prabhupada is a bit full of words that are not there, kind of like distort the meaning. So I want to bring it back to what it is, because it's an important concept. So Krishna is saying, so the twice-born member of society achieves second birth through upanayan. So upanayan, it just means bringing closer, okay? Through upanayam. Now, upanayam can mean a lot of things, but it just basically means to bring close, which means is you come close to the instructor. So that's what it means, you come close to the instructor. So by the process of upanayam, then you will reside in the Gurukula. So Kula means house, Guru means teacher. So by residing in the Gurukula, you're being brought close. You're going through this process of education, upanayam, because you're residing in the Gurukula. Now, there you must be danta, self-controlled, and you will be taught the Vedic literature, the Brahma. You have received knowledge, Brahma. You will receive knowledge, and you should study this knowledge and also understand it when when you're summoned by the teacher. So what would happen is you would be summoned to, at a certain age. Usually it depends, 5. They say you start at 5 years of age, but so people would come at 5 or later, depends, and they would live there with the guru. Of course, not everybody can go live with the guru at 5, so that's why I'm not sure about the ages yet, but at some point they would have contact. They would go to school. So they would come, stay, they would be called to study with the Brahmana. Of course, who's teaching? The Brahmana. The Brahmana is the one who's teaching. He's got the knowledge. That's his job, to teach. So he's teaching, the person gets called, and if the person is able then to go to school, to be self-controlled, to study and learn what's being passed and taught by the Brahmana, then that person has received second birth, dvija. Nothing here says anything about, but not shudras. Why not? Why would you not? I mean, how would a civilization not want everyone to be able to have nice education, to be able to learn the codes of Dharma, to be able to learn the things of life, and of course grammar and math and everything else, but they would always have a big focus on learning, Vedic literature. So you have to learn who Krishna is, who God is, who you are. You can learn these things, you can learn about karma, you can learn about Dharma, the necessity of doing your duty, being a good person. These are the things you want everybody to learn. So you have to learn, and where would you learn this? You would learn this in school, taught by the guru in the Gurukula. So that's what Gurukula is. This, of course, the idea was you'd start as a child. And we'll see that this is the brahmachari ashram. He hasn't mentioned the word yet, but this is just a dvija. So this is what you need to be a qualified member of society in general. Okay. Verse 23. So the brahmachari should regularly dress with a belt of straw and deerskin garments. He should wear matted hair, carry a rod and water pot, and be decorated with aksha beads and a sacred thread. Carrying pure kusha grass in his hand, he should never accept a luxurious or sensuous sitting place. He should not unnecessarily polish his teeth, nor should he bleach and iron his clothes. So it was a very simple teaching system. Like you'd have to practice renunciation. So it's like a simple thing. That's why, not clear from all these texts, at what age they would come and how long they would stay. But anyway, at some point, for some period of time, because when we see Krishna going to his Gurukula, he does it very quickly, but that's Krishna, so we don't know. But so, at some point you go there and you go to Gurukula, and it's a living thing. Obviously, parents wouldn't go living without their kids their whole lives, because then they wouldn't be fulfilling their dharma of being parents. So it must have been some more short time arrangement, I think. Anyway, so they would come and live in the Gurukula, and they would have to wear these very austere clothes, because there's the Brahmanas would be living far away. This is a nature setting, so that's why the deer skin and belt of straw, these are just simple things you would get from nature. So, and you have the kusha grass mat. So, it's a mat, It doesn't allow the humidity of the earth to come through, but it's, you know, it's a bit hard, so it's not very comfortable. But that's okay. It's like this kind of training, like more training in being austere and simple life and nature. You know, you're not, you know, no focus on looking good, so your hair is getting matted, and it's not like you're like, oh, I want to be all pretty. No, not now. Now it's just like, forget the body. Let's focus on learning. Let's be humble and simple. So with this kind of mentality, they're there, the brahmacharis there learning in the Gurukula. Now remember, these are children. These are children, these are not grown adults, because these days you have these like 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old brahmacharis. It's like, no, there's no such thing as a 50-year-old brahmachari. Brahmachari means a student child. This is a child, okay? You're talking about children here. So this is the brahmachari life. The word aduta.vas indicates that a renounced brahmachari is not concerned with a glistening smile to attract the opposite sex, nor does he pay much attention to his outer garments. Brahmachari life is meant for austerity and obedience to the spiritual master, to the guru, to the teacher. So that later in life, when one becomes a businessman, politician, or intellectual brahmana, one will be able to call upon resources of character, discipline, self-control, austerity, and humility. So that's the idea. It's like a training. It's getting these people qualified to be wonderful adults, to be wonderful members of society. Student life, as described here, is far different from the mindless hedonism known as modern education. Of course, in the modern age, Krishna-conscious brahmacharis cannot artificially adopt the ancient dress and ritualistic duties described here, but the essential values of self-control, purity, and obedience to a bona fide spiritual master are just as necessary today as they were in Vedic times. Verse 24. A brahmachari should always remain silent while bathing, eating, attending sacrificial performances, chanting japa, or passing stool or urine. He should not cut his nails and hair, including the armpit and pubic hair. So that's interesting, isn't it? That Krishna has to mention not to cut the armpit and pubic hair, because I guess everybody else was doing it. So like, you know, this modern practice of, you know, maintaining your body hair free, they were doing it as well. Interesting, isn't it? But as a brahmachari, no, you kind of like, you go, you know, a little simple. You just let things go a little bit. You don't worry about looks. You're not focusing on that. You're focusing on, you know, just renunciation, simplicity, so you can focus on your studies. So this is the kind of life of just like, for now, I'm just going to be doing a little working on just rejecting, you know, the outside world and focusing on my inside world. And so silence, practice of silence, we're doing a series of things, which is nice. Just keeping silent is always a good practice. So he was doing all these different practices of a brahmachari. So this is brahmachari life. Let's read a little more. Verse 25. One observing the vow of celibate brahmachari life should never pass semen. If the semen by chance spills out by itself, the brahmachari should immediately take bath in water, control his breath by pranayama, and chant the Gayatri mantra. So, very, you know, just like obviously no sex, you can't go out, this is not a time to do anything, can't even masturbate on purpose, just, you know, just maintain, try to maintain again, just this work on austerity, on renunciation, and if you do happen to pass semen, just go take a bath, which is a very practical instruction. Go take a bath, take some deep breaths, you know, chant some mantras, and then you'll be back, and then don't worry about it, and you're back on top of your game. Verse 26, purified and fixed in consciousness, the brahmachari should worship the fire god, sun, acharya, cows, brahmanas, guru, elderly, respectable persons, and demigods. He should perform such worship at sunrise and sunset without speaking, but by silently chanting or murmuring the appropriate mantras. So they had a nice, again, this isn't a path of yoga. This isn't like everybody's forced into the path of yoga. So this is general Vedic civilization. And as such, there is the inclusion of the demigods. You have to, because that was the general popular religion, which can only be surpassed for those who are in the path of yoga. But so they were just having this is a general education for everyone. So they were, being taught to be respectful to their elders, the fire god sun, acharya, cows, brahmanas, guru, and elderly respectable persons, and demigods. So morning, so at sunrise and sunset, they would make their proper, silent meditation mantra on these figures. Verse 27, one should know the acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is a representative of all the demigods. So then Krishna says, the proper mentality then is to see the teacher as God. That's one of the biggest problems with society today. Teachers are disrespected. There's no proper respect for teachers. And so we don't respect learning. We don't respect higher qualities because no respect to teachers. So Krishna says, you should see the teacher as me. Like that level of respect, that's what Krishna wants. Be super respectful to your acharya, to your teacher. Okay, this is a very long purport, which we'll skip for now because we've run out of time. So I'll see you in the next class. I hope you have the rest of your day with lots of peace and lots of love. Hare Krishna.